Hey everybody, it's Tanya Smith of Let's Get Let's Go Live. I'm so used to saying that. Last week we had our Let's Go Live challenge. Get noticed with video. It's been a long month. So I want to welcome you. If this is your first time, I'm usually a lot more polished, I promise. But as I mentioned, it's been a little bit of a long month. The month of August has been long, and I'm ready for September. And then we can keep it moving and get on into 2021 and start all over fresh. That would be good. Anywho, I just want to welcome you to the show. This is our weekly live stream. It's the Get Noticed with Video live show that I do each and every week. I am housed online at getnoticedwithvideo.com, but I also broadcast this weekly live on Facebook as well as YouTube, sometimes on Twitter, but mostly Facebook and YouTube. So I am right now wanting to acknowledge, hey, Michelle, good to see you, ma'am. Wanting to acknowledge the folks in my community, which is the Get Noticed with Video VIPs group in Facebook. And I just want all of them to know how proud I am. Again, we just finished our Let's Go Live challenge last week. I'm working on some things to acknowledge your finish. And let me say good evening. Hello there. So if you see that I have Facebook user and that was you, it's just because you need to go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give them permission to be able to showcase your name and your picture. It's good to see you, Pam. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit this evening about a topic that is dear to me and is something that has been a constant challenge over the years that I've been in business. And so, one of my amazing community members reached out and asked a question. And one of the things that I like to do with these live streams is to actually try to address these questions because typically when one person asks, that means more people have a question to ask too. So what we're going to ask or answer rather is how does live streaming content actually fit into your business and how can you use it to really drive more paying clients? So it's a strategy call this evening. All right. Yes, hello, Marlon. It's wonderful to see you. I think you're new to my community. Hey, Tanya. So if you're new to the community, be sure to type in hashtag newbie because I want to welcome you. I want to greet you and tell you that I am just excited whenever we have new people that show up. I hope that you'll be able to get something of value from our live streams. Again, I love to deliver practical strategies and advice that will help you to use more video, to grow your business, to gain more social influence, and to create conversation spaces with your perfect clients. So that's what we're really excited about doing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in just a few minutes. Awesome, Marion. Thank you, newbie. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so here's what I usually do. I try to give us a few seconds to come on in. I actually use the countdown timer today, but what I'm going to do is to share my really quick intro video, and then I'll be back and we're going to dive into our strategy topic. Tonight, we're going to answer that question. How should and how does live video fit into your overall marketing plan for your business? So I have 3 tips that I want to share with you, and hopefully I'll try to keep them concise, but this is one of those topics that can get a little deep. So be ready with your questions if there's something I can answer as we're talking through, okay? All right, see you in a second. All righty, everybody. Welcome back again. I'm Tanya Smith, and this is Get Noticed with Video Live. This is our weekly show where we try our best to deliver practical strategies to help you as a service provider use more video to promote your business, to build your social influence, to do all the things, right? But the key is it can't do all the things, and that's what I want to talk a little bit about tonight. So Let me say good evening, Miss Pat. Yes, and it's Marie who's there. You're so welcome. I'm so glad I get to do this. And then Marcia, she's an OG. That's right. I usually have my OGs, my people who have been around for a while and watched for a while, to put in OG, and my new people to put in hashtag newbie. So whichever you are, feel free to put that in the comments. Now, I have a little bit of a tickle, so I'm going to go ahead and warn you that I may have to take a little sip of tea because I am fighting allergies again. And yes, I'm pretty sure it's allergies because right around this time is when I tend to have that. It's nothing more than that, so don't worry. But I do have a little bit of a tickle and I need to cough every now and then. So I'm going to try to avoid that as much as possible and give you clean and clear content. So let's dive into this topic because it can be really, I think it's something that's going to make you think. And I will try my best to share some personal stories and to inject some other things that I've experienced with clients, excuse me, to help you to really understand the point that I'm trying to make. But ultimately, the question is, how does live streaming content fit into your business and how can you use it to drive more paying clients? So I've been rewriting some things. And this is why, again, it's so fresh in my mind. So when the question came up in my community, I thought, instead of me trying to answer this here under the comments, why don't I take a little bit more time and really dive deeply into what is going on? So let me share with you the question. I won't go into great detail and I will not say names. My community knows the names, but I want to share with you this question. I'll do it, keep it high level because I think that this might be useful for you. So the question was, I've been going live on my public and group Facebook pages for about 6 months. So we've been talking, right? And so doing exactly the right thing. I've replaced my webinars with these sessions, but now I'm not really growing my marketing list. I used to have, basically what she's saying is she used to get more registrations and build her list through webinars. But now that she's moved over into the live stream space, it has been fewer. She said, I'm getting, she gave a number of views that she's getting each week. So it's good reach, but she's not sure if it's translating into business. So I'm going to leave it at that. And that's the gist of the question. But the bigger question is exactly what I put out there, which is, how do I fit video, especially if you're doing live streams like I do every week? How do you fit that into your marketing strategy? And so I want to talk a little bit about that. Before I do that, I forgot to say this. If you're watching and you enjoy the content, please don't hesitate to get reminders and notifications. Now, up until this week, we were sending text messages as well as Facebook Messenger reminders. We're going to cut that because definitely there were fewer people that were opening those for the cost that it was taking for me to, the cost and the time that it was taking for me to set that up. So instead, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you want to be notified, is to go to the Facebook watch page, which you can get to if you type in tanyasmith.live. That will take you there. Click on the bell. And if you're watching on YouTube, click on the bell. It's really super simple, and that will notify you each and every time I go live. Okay, now back to the content. So when you think about her question and you think about the fact that she's moved completely over into the live video space and just thought, hey, this is going to be good. And she was getting reach and getting some eyes, which we want, but wasn't quite sure if it was translating into paying clients. That is one thing that we all, each and every one of us, especially as service providers without huge teams, we have to be thinking about every time we take an action, every time we take a step. How is this driving people to do more business with me? So I thought that was an excellent question. Excellent question. And yes, Sherry, these allergies are bad. Yes, I'm trying to get rid of them myself. So that question for me, it was timely because, as I mentioned, I'm kind of in the mode right now of updating and changing some things, even on my own website, which required me to take a step back. So I'm looking at my website, I'm looking at my courses, I'm looking at everything that is driving people to a paid experience with me. And I want you to start thinking this way too. It's not just about the video marketing. It's not just about getting on live. It's about how does this fit into my overall game plan of having a successful business, right? So there's three questions that have written down that I want to kind of walk you through. And the first question, I guess I should have typed it in. I didn't do that this time. But the first question is this: how can I use video to support my mission? So I'm going to try to type it in here. I'll see if I can do it fast. We'll try it. How do I use video? So how do you leverage video to support my mission? Okay. So that's going to be the first thing. Let me pop it up right there. This is the first question you're going to ask. You have to think in terms of, if you're going to start adding live video into your marketing strategy, live video itself is not a strategy. It is a form of content. It is a vehicle for you to reach, as I mentioned earlier, to create conversation spaces. But how does that fit into your larger marketing strategy? That means, first of all, you have to have a strategy. You have to know what your mission is. So, especially for those of you who are OGs and for those of you who have been around the block for a while as a coach or a consultant or a trainer or an author or a speaker, especially for those of us who have been around, we know, we have studied books by Jack Canfield, Zig Ziglar, you name it. There are all these books out there that talk about creating structure for your business. So first of all, thinking about what your mission is going to be very key. So yeah, I can easily tell you, go start doing live video. And I do want you to do that because the more you do it, the easier it will get. And the more consistent you are, the more visibility you will have. But we still have to think about that bottom line. And how is this driving profit? How does this create a system? How does this fit into the system so that I am generating more paying clients, right? And that goes back to your mission. So when I think about, for instance, my mission, and I had to really kind of do some soul searching on this, because let me give you a real example. I'm going to be super transparent with you. At one point, I got so excited in the last couple of months about the attraction of different types of corporations and organizations and everything. And I was like, "Ooh, I don't have enough on my website. I need to go now and take advantage of this course platform I just built and build 7, 8, 9 different courses out." And so I was out there, and I'm telling y'all, I was building, I was putting content in, I was pulling content from other old classes and stuff. And then it hit me, wait a minute. You got to launch, or you have to in some way market each one of these. So how does the pricing structure work? How does this work? How does that work? And I had to sit down and be really honest and have a come to Jesus meeting with myself. In that meeting, I learned, I hit myself over the head and I said, hold on. If your mission is to simplify, stream, and serve, and I had to refresh this mission, y'all. I had to think about, okay, so what is it I want to help people to do? I want people to simplify. The differentiator for me from other video marketing coaches is that my goal is to help you to get started without buying a ton of equipment and spending a ton of money on all these different things and editing and all those other things. I want to make it simple. I want to make the threshold for video super easy for you to cross so you can use it. So if I'm telling you simplify, stream, and serve, that whole idea of having 500 different courses does not fit into simplify. So I had to think about my mission. I had to think about, what do I believe? And I believe that we can Every one of us has it in us to create a successful business, but a lot of times we overcomplicate and overdo things. So, thinking through that and going back to my own personal mission helped to drive some decisions that I needed to make about my website and about my courses and what I promote and to simplify it. So, what do you believe when you're thinking about how does video support your mission? How does any type of content support your mission? First, you need to have a mission. So, if you don't have one, that's where I want you to go back to is think about that. What's your purpose? When you think about your marketing strategy, you got to think about your mission statement. You got to think about what you value, what's important to you. You got to think about who you're serving, who is your audience. You got to think about your core message. What is it that I'm trying to get across? And is what I'm doing with video supporting that? My strategy, my courses, my lives, I knew from the very beginning, and this is what I want the person who asked me to know. I knew that live video would help me get the visibility. I can bring people to the lake, but I can't make them drink unless I have something else. So they're coming and they're watching, you're watching, but what do I have to do next? Right? So, in itself, live video is not a marketing strategy, but it is part of. So, there are other things you need to be thinking through that support your mission. And if that means paid classes, if that means webinars, if it means something else, books, if it means a podcast that could be launched from that. The main thing that the live video is going to do is to get you more exposure, especially if you do it consistently. But what else are you directing people to do in order for them to pay? Because you're in business. So the first question is, how can I use video to support my mission? And the more you really think about that and start looking at your mission and re-examining and evaluating your overall marketing strategy, the easier it will be for you to figure out where video fits in. So I'm going to remind everybody, if you have questions or need me to follow up on anything that I'm saying, please feel free to put that in the comments. I'll check in a minute and see if I've got some questions. So yes, the second question, oh, and let me throw this under that first one too. There's so much that was kind of coming out of me when I was writing notes for this. When you think about your mission, what is working right now? Like, what was working before you started doing live video? Were there things that were working? Because in the question, we heard that webinars were working. So don't necessarily use video to replace the things that work, but use it to complement the things that work. Use it to complement those things. I use it to complement the fact that I love to teach and I do paid courses. I use it to complement that I love doing webinars, Saturday webinars, or I love doing technology reviews, right? I use video to supplement those things, but it is not the thing. Okay, so the second question, let me check and make sure, see if I have any questions. Yes, Marianne said, I love this. Marie said, and part of my mission is to keep all of the people in my industry up on trends. So it does serve that mission. Now, how do I take them deeper and get paid? That is my question to me. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That is the question. If the live videos aren't doing it, what will do it? If the live videos are driving people to you and you're getting them each week to come and watch, what else are you driving them to do? Are you getting them to come and be a part of your list? Are you saying in your call to action 1, 2, or 3 times in that live video each week, don't forget to go sign up at such and such page so that you can become part of my community, blah, blah, blah. Or you can download a free checklist, or you can do whatever. Give them a driving action, drive them to something in those videos because it's a vehicle, right? It's a vehicle. Okay, so the second question is this, and I guess I need to let me see if I can type this one in real quick too. This is what I get for not putting them in there in advance. Ah, okay. Two is this. I'm just going to copy and paste. How can I use video with other methods to understand what my audience wants from me? So the first question was about you, and it was about your business and how you're trying to set up your mission statement and the rest of your marketing strategy. If you're doing speaking engagements, if you're writing a book, if you're doing tours online, right now virtual tours are a hot thing and summits are a hot thing. If you're doing those other things, how does your live video support that? But now, how can I use video with other methods to understand what my audience wants? This is a big one. So when we talk about driving profitable client coach relationships, because I consider myself to be a business coach, a strategist, right? And whatever your role is, many of you are service providers of some kind. So think about, how do you drive those relationships? So again, the question is, how can I use video with other methods to understand what my audience wants from me? If you're trying to figure out where live video fits into your strategy, one of the questions you've got to ask is, how do I know what people want so I can provide that and be paid for that? Okay. So remember, I was talking about the fact that I was kind of really taking a look at my own courses and trying to decide um, what the best path would be. Like, why do I have 12 courses? For what? Half of the stuff, it even when I looked at them all laid out on my screen, I realized there's a lot of duplicated effort here. And it's going to be tougher, even though I see people doing this right now. Have y'all noticed a lot of people that are doing the $27 and $37, they call them tiny offers? And what they do is they sell the course for $27 or $37, right? And this can work for some people. They sell it for that, and then they promote a larger, bigger program. I saw one that jumped from the $27 program, which was a nice course. It gave really good content and information. But the next thing I know, I'm getting hit with a bunch of emails asking me about an $8,000 course, which that was a huge leap in my mind. Um, would it be a huge enough leap if you realize, or if the person recognized that there was opportunity for them to get exactly what they need? Maybe, but I didn't need what she had in the $8,000 course, so I wasn't even thinking about that. So I want you to think about yourself, and I want you to think about, what kind of programs, services, and offers do you have that you can lead people to from a live video that will give them high quality, relevant content and value that is, again, strategically aligned with what you talk about every week, okay, in your live streams. And then what's the path that leads people to? So I was thinking, wow, why do I have all these little mini courses? Instead, why not go back to my magic number is 3? Why do I not just have 3 choices? And it's easier to focus on 3 things that people want when I know what they want. And it's easier for me to promote and to sell 3 major things. There can be other little, because I know everybody's talking about passive income streams and all that right now. That's another hot topic, phrase, whatever. And the thing is, though, you have to think realistically about, how does that fit into my space, my mission, and then how am I going to get those things done, especially if it's just me. Some of you are asking and thinking about that right now because you don't have a big team. So simplify. I had to go back to my mission. Simplify, stream, and serve. That's my mission. What's your mission? Whatever your mission is, think about that. So here's what I want to tell you that was interesting. What was really interesting is, when I sat down and I asked myself that same exact question, let me pop it back up again. How can I use video with other methods to understand what my audience wants from me? Bam, all of a sudden, minute I asked that question, I answered it by realizing, you know what? I've been collecting data all along. I've been collecting information through my live streams. My live streams are not only on public pages, but they're also broadcast inside of my group, my community. My community tends to comment and to ask questions, and they participate in the free challenge because I do offer something free that is high quality content that is relevant to their needs. But then in return for them joining my group, I get to ask a question. I get to ask for their email, and I get to ask them, what do they want to know most? Like, where are they struggling the most? Right? So when I sat down and I asked myself the question I just posed to you, I realized, I've been collecting this information for several months now because of the automation that I've set up that connects to my Facebook group. I've been collecting this, but not looking at it. So I end up looking, and I'm going to pull up something for you to see. And I'm pulling back the curtains a little bit and being really honest and real with you to say that this happens to all of us. We all have to, as entrepreneurs, be thinking strategically. And sometimes we forget that because we're human and life is going on and we just got stuff. So I'm trying to remind you to go back and look at what you already have, because there may be gold nuggets in what you already have. If you've been in business for some time, if you've been building a list, go to that list of people and ask them what in the space that I play would be most helpful to you to know right now in this moment. Everybody needs something right now. Is it something you can offer? You won't know unless you ask them. So here, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you what I found out. And I hadn't even paid attention to this. So this is how funny this is. So in the group, in the tool that I use that helps me to automate my group connection, again, it allows me to ask people questions in advance. Hold on, let me fix my camera. We'll see if that'll correct itself in a second. If not, I'm just gonna, let me do this. I'm gonna blow up the screen and I will fix this. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, but one of the things I realized, let me just turn it off for now, is that I had all this information. Let me blow it up and put it in presenter mode. I was asking questions, but not going back to pay attention to what the answers were. And I realized that there's a free form question that I ask. And in my free form question, I ask, what is the thing that trips you up the most, or something like that, about video? And so in seeing these answers, there was a lot of great information. Most people want to know about setup. A lot of people want to know how to be more confident. Yeah, some people want to know how to be more visible, but their priority themes stood out when I looked at this. The other thing I noticed is that I also provided them some specific answers to questions. Hold on. All right, let's see if that'll reconnect myself here real quick. All right, so a lot of these, when I blew up the categories that I provided them of things that I want to talk about, because it does matter what you want to talk about, I noticed that this was happening. 37% want to know how to create a system for developing their own live show, and 36% want to know what platforms and what tools they should use to go live, and then 27% how to be more confident having their face on camera. So do you see how that could be golden to know? When you know what your audience wants, you can build from that. So now I look at my courses and I think, okay, which of the courses that I've put together will help me to deliver on the question and the request that my clients are asking for, or my potential clients that may be wanting to pay me and just didn't find anything in my program library yet that they would pay for. And how can I use some of those requests to develop both free and paid content with video? So I hope this is kind of shedding some light behind the scenes and giving you some Some things to think about for your own business. Again, the question was, how can I use video with other methods to understand what my audience wants? You can use your live stream to actually do surveys, to ask people, what is it you want? To get comments from people to see what it is they want to know. Yes, here's a good question. Let's see. Let me go back through. Uh, I could also be better at some kind of call to action. I'm not great at that. So, you know what? Awareness is the first problem, or not problem, the first solution to become aware. So now you know to ask that. If I should only go live in my groups where I get that information instead of on my public Facebook page, I'm going to come back to that, Marie. And yes, good afternoon, Virginia. Okay, so the first two questions, I hope you got those down. The first one is, how do I use video to support my mission? And that means you need to really be examining your full-blown business strategy. What is it that you're about? Who do you serve? What's your purpose? What's your core message? And how does video support that? And then secondly, how can I use it with other methods to understand what people want from me so that you can give it to them? Because the live video itself is not the strategy. The live video is part of your overall strategy for driving paying clients, right? For driving people who are lurkers to become leads, and leads into becoming paying clients, and paying clients into becoming raving fans. Okay, third and final tip, and let me see if I can pull this up, and hopefully my video won't freeze again. How can I, oh, let me say this with the how do I use other methods? When you're asking what people want, you also, and this goes to another one of my community members that had asked this question, you also want to be thinking about, in terms of your live stream strategy, do people want to see you at 6 p.m. Central on a Tuesday? Or do they want to see you at 11 a.m. Wednesday? Or do they want to see you at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday? That's something you're going to have to experiment with and test to see if you get results from changing things up a bit. But you're also asking each step of your change. So every time you transition or you make a change in your video marketing strategy or otherwise, you're kind of doing a little toe in the water test, and you're checking to see, is this sufficient? Is this helping you get where you want to go? Am I giving you what you need? So I usually reach out to my community when I make a major change in a date, time, or content theme. Okay. All right. The next one is, how can I use video to amplify my voice? This is the last one. Okay. So let me dive into this. I'm going to add that one as number 3. How can I add or use video to amplify my voice? Because again, it's not the strategy. It's part of the content strategy. It's part of the content marketing. It's part of the business plan. So how do I use video to amplify my voice? So one of the questions that was just put in here, Marie just asked this. She said, something I was wondering about, should I go live in my groups where I get that information instead of on my public Facebook page? I would say, why not think about doing both? Sometimes, and most of the time, I get my best content and my best questions through my own group that I'm nurturing and growing. And the way that I'm nurturing and growing, I think, is by checking in, getting to know people that are part of my community, asking them questions, making sure that I can answer them, serving them through whatever ways that I can that will meet the needs they have, right? So the more you know, based on that second question, the more you can serve. But there are often times where I'll get questions from people who are not part of my community. We're just not meant to be together, which is fine. But they may ask some interesting questions or put some interesting comments in my blog post or in my Facebook public page or in my personal page where they're still not a member of my business community, right? And I still get really good value from both. So, Marie, in answer to your question, I would say, why not experiment with both and see how that goes? And what you could do, if your concern is that you want to limit certain content, what you could do is consider removing it or expiring it. There's an expire option. Expiring your public business page videos at a certain time. Like you can tell them, hey, it's only going to be up for 24 hours or for 48 hours or for a week on my business page. But if you're part of my private group, my community, then you have eternal access. How does that sound? Right? So give them a differentiator. There are lots and lots of different ways you could do that, but you want to definitely test it out. So the third question about how do I use video to amplify my voice? The way that you're going to do that is to continue to do it even if nobody's watching. Continue to do it with some level of consistency. And why, you might be asking? The reason why is because the more you do video, the more comfortable you get. The more comfortable you get, the more your words will flow. The more you flow, the more people will be attracted to your message and will come and hear you because you're staying on a certain point. You're relevant, you're themed, you got the flow. And the more people come and they're attracted to your content, the more likely they are to know, like, and trust you, and therefore buy from you because you're inserting and injecting calls to action for your paid programs, courses, webinars, books, etc. So I hope that makes sense. What you want to recognize video, your live video as is a lead magnet, not the full blown strategy. It's a lead magnet that will help you to attract more eyes that you can then help walk the path into your paid products and services. So I know I kind of took a deep did a little deeper path than I normally do, but I really wanted to talk to each and every one of you as though you were a coaching client. In some ways, we didn't ask a lot of questions, but I know you had some questions on your mind, and I hope that this giving you this practical advice is helpful and pulling behind the scenes so that you can see it's not just you, it's all of us. We all are constantly having to rethink our strategy, and especially in this moment, the phrase that I keep hearing this year in 2020 is pivot. So we have to learn to pivot. Whatever used to work for you, try some of that. And if it's no longer working, then change it up or add to the equation by adding something like a live video streaming show, right? There are ways that you can use live video as a supplement to your marketing strategy. And that's just what the message I wanted to communicate today. It's a supplement. So if you have webinars where people have been paying you in the past, keep doing those webinars. You just need to figure out what your differentiator will be. For me, with webinars that are paid webinars, I do a deeper dive. I also provide interaction and personal engagement and answer a bunch of questions. And we have voice conversation, not just chat on Facebook. There are differentiators, which is why people are willing to pay for those. Whereas you could certainly go through my entire library of videos on Facebook and get a lot of information. If you can get that information in a shorter time, in a 1 hour to 90-minute webinar, wouldn't you be willing to pay for that? Most people would say yes. So think of the differentiator and diversify your content. Make live video a part of your video library. All right, everybody, I think I went a little over time, but I hope I answered some questions, and I hope I gave you some nuggets that you can think about for your own business. I'm sorry I saw a little bit of that freeze up happening, and hopefully it's not frozen now. It tends to happen every now and then. But anyway, I would like to just invite you, if you have not signed up, see, here I go. I'm inviting you to join me on Friday for a StreamYard tutorial. So some of you have asked, what do you use to do streaming? What's the platform? My favorite at the moment is StreamYard. And so if you are interested in learning how to use StreamYard, definitely come and sign up to be part of my class. Let's see. Get noticed with video. I did not do a good job of putting my banners in today. StreamYard class. All right. Here, let me put this down here. If you are interested in learning more about how to use StreamYard and you want to know all the bells and whistles and the functions of getting around it, you have it, but you haven't been using it because you didn't know you had all this stuff that was in there. I can help you learn how to do that this Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So just go to getnoticedwithvideo.com slash StreamYard class and sign up. You must sign up by the morning of Friday, the 28th, in order to participate in our live 90-minute class. All right, folks. It has been my pleasure, as usual, to serve you. Let me see some notes. I saw the advice just keeps getting better and better. I just love you, Miss Pat. Stacy, wonderful nuggets. I'm so glad you were able to come this evening. And Tanya, you're welcome, lady. I'm glad you're here. And Ethel, you answered a lot of my questions tonight. I'm so thankful for that. I hope that you'll take it to heart and start examining your own business. Look at your mission, look at what you're intending to do. Are the content, is the content strategy or the things that you're putting out there, do they really fit with what you're telling people and with who you are? Because if they don't, it may be time to switch it up. You're so welcome, Marcia. Thank you. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And you are awesomeness too, Miss Michelle. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see those of you who are in my tutorial on Friday. I'll see you Friday. Everybody else, I'll see you next week. Take care of yourself and be safe and be blessed.